2 days of support racing and a day of prelim racing later, we're finally ready and set to go for the 11th annual SARA Impel National Tour Sim Rat Market Fall Brawl 250. Yes, it is a mouthful, and with 31 cars lined up for 250 laps, this is, as they say, a big deal. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in virtual Pensacola, Florida. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Lindgren, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the Sim Auto Racing Association Impel Motorsports National Tour for the Sim Rat Market Fall Brawl 250. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by Impel Motorsports, by Sim Rat Market, and by Whiplash Sim Cams. We've got a bit of a pre-race show tonight. A little bit different from what we usually do for the Super Series or even the National Tour. But Zach, first up, we got to talk about this racetrack. Five Flag Speedway, it's historic. It is one of the top racetracks in short track racing. And boy, is it fun to race on.
Built in 1953, originally to host some NASCAR Cup Series, it's had its ebbs and flows of car and obviously its own track combination, but now lands home to the Snowball Derby with these cars on it. Andrew, I mean, the combination of these two the tracks and cars together is arguably some of the best combination. It is a very difficult track. The banking in and of itself is large. I've been to this track. I've had to drive on this track to, help with some stuff, and I thought we were going to tip over. I mean, just the speed that this track carries and the speed that these cars carry is undeniable. So I'm really looking forward to what tonight has to offer between the two in the SARA League tonight.
Definitely going to be a lot of fun here this evening. Of course, Monday and last night, great racing throughout, whether it was the street stocks, late model stocks, super late models on track. We have had a fantastic week of racing here at the virtual Five Flags. And of course, there was even ARCA cars here on Tuesday evening with UERA. That said, I mentioned this is a pre-race show. We do see some practice times on the left side of your screen. Steele Langford fastest right now over Alex McCullum and Chase Williamson. You see the rest of the order on the left side, kind of who's where. But we have got three drivers to talk to, and they all are starting in very different areas of the field. The first driver we're going to talk to this evening actually started this week off with a big win, and that is Kendrick Cryer, who won the street stock feature back on Monday. And Kendrick, we talked to you after that one, but obviously a lot has happened between then and now. So as we get into this race session for tonight's Fall Brawl 250, you know where you start. 19th because you top 5 into your heat. Where can you reasonably get to, do you think? I mean, a little bit of work to do for sure. 19th up to first is going to be a task, but where do you think you can get to, maybe by halfway?
I'm not too worried about the halfway. I'm worried about the end, but honestly, personal goal top 10 with this competition, and obviously I don't drive these cars very much at all, and I'm, to be honest, not the greatest at them, but we've been putting in some test laps in, and hopefully it pays off here at the end of 250 laps.
I see the RKM Setup Shop logo on the back of your car. Of course, Kyle's been fast in the Super Series lately. Ryan had a great run at Concord, and they both were pretty good in qualifying yesterday and heat racing. What does it mean to have them involved? Let's not forget Aaron Johnson in that group as well. I mean, what's it like to have all of those guys who are well-versed in super late model racing to help you out?
First of all, Ryan builds the best stuff out there. I don't care what anybody says. Out of anywhere I've ever been, he's definitely built the fastest stuff I've ever driven. Some of it obviously takes different driving style. I've had to learn that, and I mean, these guys are amazing. They're very good friends to hang out with and race with, and hopefully the night goes well. But yeah, being on RKM's side is definitely the way to go as far as my standpoint.
Well, hey, it's a long race, 250 laps as we've talked about. Best of luck. We'll be watching out for that blue 66. It's hard to miss, so we should have no problem seeing you. Best of luck tonight.
Hey, you can't miss it. Thank you.
Kendrick Cryer with a quick word here pre-race. We'll move on down to our second interviewee of the night. But first, we got to talk about point standings because this driver is 7th in the standings. And if we bring up the graphic, here we go, you'll see Tracy Petters, 7th. He's right in between a whole lot of really good drivers. I mean, he's very close to Josh Cottle, Kyle Terzak, Trevor Edwards, Cameron Hamilton, and just ahead of guys like Joel Smith, Chris Horton, Josh Parrish, Mitch Strunowski, his teammate, and even Kyle Meyer there on the left side of your screen. So Zach, as we look at this point standings. You and I talked a little bit earlier. I know you're green to the series. You don't know a whole lot of these guys and all the storylines just yet. But it definitely already feels like there's two in contention for the championship, considering we are 2/3 of the way through this season and working very quickly towards the end.
Yeah, like you said, the two guys up towards the top with Alex McCollum and Cole Cabre, they're up top with a pretty decent gap over third all the way through the rest of the standings. But I mean, a lot of things could happen. We've seen it time in and time out with a lot of different ebbs and flows and a bunch of different shakeups for series standings. So to have this kind of deficit already, it's not insurmountable. It is starting to become a steeper climb as the season is narrowing down, but it's not insurmountable to say the least. A bad night for one could lead to a good night for another. So it's not insurmountable just yet, but like you said, with Alex McCollum, Cole Cabre being almost 40, well, from Cole back to third to Josh Cottle, almost 40 points ahead, or just at 40 points ahead, it's looking a lot steeper for some of these guys. But I mean, third through seventh all being within 15 points of each other, that's impressive in and of itself. So one bad race, one little miscue, one little misstep could really shake up a lot of what we see after the fact tonight.
We'll get right down to it. Second driver on our list this evening, Tracy Petter, 7th in the standings. But Tracy, through everything with this week of racing, street stocks and late model stocks on Monday, ARCA cars on Tuesday, I saw you did pretty well in that race as well. We get here to the big show. You're starting third after the redraw, 7th in points. What's the game plan like?
I hang on to the car the first run. I need to get my first set of boots, and then the car really starts to come in. Just gotta try not to lose a ton of track position early.
And if I look over on my other monitor here at the lineup, I mean, you were up there with guys like Riley and Parker ahead of you, Chase over your shoulder, Colin Allman, Alex McCullum right behind you. That's some steep company to have starting immediately around you in this field. And a lot of big setup shop names. What does EPI bring to the table? Open Trailer Mafia, you guys, what do you feel like you have under the car tonight? It seemed like Joel was really good on long run pace. Do you think that'll be the same for you?
Yeah, our car's gonna be good on the long run. That's always what I try to set the car up for. Doesn't really make sense to me to have it good at the beginning. Need it to be good at the end.
And hey, let's talk National Tour. 2 races to go after this. Late model stocks at Southern National, Supers at Kern. What do you feel like fits you the best?
Definitely the super late at Kern. I'm not really that much of a late model stock guy. I really only race it in the SARA races. Other than that, I don't touch it.
Well, Tracy, we're watching out for that 79 car. Really cool paint scheme. We're going to do the best in show here in a moment, and I think your car is going to be one of the 4, at least considered, if not nominated. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations starting up front with the redraw, and hopefully we're looking out for car 79 later on today.
Thanks for that, and thanks for streaming it.
Tracy Petter. Absolutely glad to be here. Tracy Petter with a solid starting spot, solid in the points as well. We'll move on down to the third driver tonight, though. That is going to be Brian Tedeschi. So we've talked to a couple of drivers who are starting kind of, well, it was 19th for Kendrick, 3rd here for Tracy. I actually tried to get Riley Stengham, the pole sitter, on for this. He wasn't available. Because I wanted to go first to last, Zach. I wanted to go from the guy who's starting first in Riley Stengham to the guy who's starting last in Brian Tedeschi. Brian was available for contact, though. Let's go ahead and bring in Brian Tedeschi. This is a tall order, Brian, from the back of the field here in a stacked super late model field. 31 cars, 250 laps. That's daunting, as I like to say, with the very last car in the grid. That is a daunting task. Are you up for it?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Really didn't have the best qualifying night I wanted, but I think at the end of the day, we know we got a good car. The guys in the posse worked really hard to kind of all work together to build a really good race car, so hopefully it pans out for us.
Unlike a lot of races we see, we do have some tires in the pit lane. Is there a specific game plan there that you're willing to share? At 2 sets, that's more than I would expect for this kind of race, actually.
Yeah, I think we got a pretty good game plan, but gonna hold those cards to the chest. So hopefully it works out. It's definitely gonna be dependent on how many yellows we get, when we want to take them, and all about track position, especially starting this deep.
And I've been wondering for teams like the Posse, the association, the affiliation, you guys aren't exactly as public about who supports the team as far as setups, I guess. I don't usually see a setup logo on the race car. Obviously, Ryan Kuhn Motorsports, that's obvious. We know the shop works with Nat'l chassis, for example. What do you guys do under the race car to make these things go fast?
It's just a collective of guys. A lot of us based in the upper Midwest, all of us involved in the short track industry at some point. So between Ty Majeski, Colin Allman, Steve Langford, Riley Stenjim, Derek Kraus, Joe Schaefer, and a host of other guys, we all just work together on it and build what we know. Definitely not a setup shop by any means, but just a bunch of group of guys who hang out at the racetrack every weekend from February to November. Actually, most of us be together at the Snowball Derby here in a week and a half. So, yeah, just a bunch of buddies who like to work on race cars, and also I race in our free time.
There you go. From, I guess you guys have a car on pole, a car at Caboose. Best of luck. Hopefully we're talking to you later on.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, thank you guys for doing this.
Absolutely. Brian Tedeschi starting shotgun on the field this evening. We'll be watching out for that 29 car here tonight. So that's the three drivers we wanted to talk to before we got this show underway. Other things we want to look at definitely have to be the power rankings, Zach. And this is something we've been starting to do more and more for leagues across the board. And we've already talked about these power rankings on Monday and again last night, Wednesday. But here they are again. Drivers to consider. Anybody on this top 10, obviously Cole Cabry, as we mentioned last night, not here tonight, not racing this evening. But the other 9, well, actually, I don't think Trevor is either. So the other 8, the other 8 drivers, Alex McCullum, Kyle Turzak, Josh Cottle, Jacob Harbert, Spencer Dickinson, Cam Hamilton, Parker Traves, Daniel Pope, they are guys to watch. There are many others, I think, that are certainly worth paying attention to. Riley Stenjin rolls off on pole. Parker Traves second. Tracy Petter, as we mentioned, rolls off third. Chase Williamson has been fantastic lately in the Super. So those are some other guys worth talking about. But these are the power rankings. Wanted to fit these in before we go racing here this evening. We are ready to go straight to the grid. As you see, it's much later in the day all of a sudden. Cars are lining up on the front straightaway. Zach, it is just about that time. Oh boy, got the jitters a little bit. I do want to look at weather conditions first, though. Weather conditions, Cody Williams is on weather conditions, and the date and time. It is the same as today's actual date, 3 o'clock in sim. That's awesome and great. Weather, pretty neutral. 78 degrees in the air, 83 on track, clear skies. Perfect day for racing. It's absolutely beautiful in sim. So we'll get right down to this starting grid. On pole, already talked about it a little bit. Riley Stenjin. Through the redraw that we did between heats and LCQ last night, Riley Stenjin leads us to the green, Parker Traves on his outside. Starting third, we talked to him, Tracy Petter alongside Chase Williamson. How about row 3? That is Colin Allman alongside Alex McCullum, a couple of former winners of this event there in the third row. Row 4, Steele Langford, Josh Cottle, just ahead of Jacob Harberts and Ryan Kuhn. Zach?
Just behind them, it's going to be Matt Rolfe in the 000. Kyle Turzak will be 12th next to him. Mitch Drunowski and Joel Smith will be starting 13th and 14th, respectively. Right behind them, Aaron Johnson, Cameron Hamilton, 15th and 16th. Joe Schaefer, Kyle Meyer, 17th, 18th. And rounding out your top 20 is going to be Kendra Cryer and Justin Crow, rounding out your top 20.
Back to row number 11, Kendall Tucker in the 00, Jacob Hayes in the 1. Row number 12, Blake Massagill, Daniel Pope. They each have some work to do, but they were the final advancement drivers through the heats last night. On to LCQ drivers, Jake Grout, alongside Grant Brown. Spencer Dickinson alongside RJ Williams. They made it in through the LCQ, and those provisional drivers back in the field, Daryl Hamlin, Keith Jeffrey, and Brian Tedeschi. Whiplash SimCam's race details here briefly. 250 laps. 125 miles, 2 change sets in the pit lane, 100% fuel out there, expected to last just shy of 150 laps. Cautions will count throughout tonight's race. We have 2 green-white checkers if needed. This is an open setup race with no fast fix, and yes, we have a couple of extra pace laps to set the stage. I want to look at some paint schemes. We won't nominate them just yet, but I want to look at a couple of paint schemes that are just absolutely fantastic and fit the vibe, if you will. Tracy Petter is one of them. I talked about it in his interview. That is very Christmassy, very much 'tis the season. Also, the 78 of Aaron Johnson. That number 78 car looks really, really good. Dylan Delaney painted that, talked about it in the Spencer Dickinson Discord last night. That very much fits the bill here for fall. So as we get ready to go, I'll slow myself down. We have got 31 cars into the restart zone this time, 250 laps. The 2025 Fall Brawl 250 begins at Five Flags Speedway. Already side by side for the race lead just as they started. Inseparable up there. Riley Stenjum, Parker Traves. They redrew for the top 10. Boy, do we find a nice order as we're 2 laps in, still side by side for the race lead.
This is kind of what you expect to see at Five Flags. It's not really a bottom dominant track as you come to expect at some of these short tracks. You can actually get to the outside and run as hard as you can, and you can see it right here with Parker Traves being to the outside. He's actually gaining a little momentum. Looks like he's going to lead this lap over Riley Stenjum. He will. He's not going to clear him just yet. Maybe we'll clear him out of 2. He will give the lead to Parker Traves. You can really use the outside to your advantage here at Five Flags.
Already 4th lap in, Alex McCullum from 6th to 3rd. This guy will not be denied in a super late model. He is moving through the field, slicing and dicing as they say. He's already passed 3 cars, those being Allman, Petter, Williamson, and is just marching on to the front of the field. Now looks to the outside of Riley Stenjum as Parker Traves takes over here. Lap 5 now in the books. Here comes Alex right to the inside. That's 2nd place.
You can see him really throw it into turn 1, and it sticks. The 77 having a little bit of issue with back-end security. You can see him kind of bobble a little bit coming out of 2. Now under fire from the 51 of Chase Williamson now. He's dropping just a little bit hard, but, I mean, 250 laps at this track can go by quickly, but it can also go by slowly, so I think he's just kind of managing what he's got. Little bobble again from the 77 as we go back up to the front. The 60 of Parker Traves being chased down by the run of Alex McCullum. He is already there. These two are starting to check out from the field just a little bit, but Alex McCullum will not let Parker Traves get away. Battle for the lead really heating up.
To the inside, Alex McCullum working on Parker Traves. 2 of the best here in the series for sure, but it's going to be a change at 10.
It's really not.
Alex had the lead there across the stripe. You see 3rd on back has been left in the dust. It is these 2 out front than everybody else.
And right now, if I'm the rest of the field, I'm kind of taking note of what's happening up front. You can see Parker Traves holding strong on the outside. Alex McCullum running through the field and being able to get up to that top spot, but not being able to clear out Parker just yet. Alex looks like he might have a chance. No, Parker drives it in harder in 3. Will be able to stay to his outside. I'm taking tabs right now. I'm kind of keeping track of how these 2 are battling out. Kind of getting an understanding of, hey, does my car have power on the outside? Is my car better on the inside? How am I going to be able to beat the 1 in the 60 with them being side by side and still being able to run away from the field? It looks like Alex might have the advantage coming out of 2 here. No, again, Parker able to stick it right on his right rear, not going to let him go. These 2 side by side still. It looks like Parker's able to get into 3 better than Alex. Side by side, really hard coming to the line there.
We've seen a lot of side-by-side racing this week for laps on end. Oh, contact there off of 2. We saw it for laps on end of the street stock race. And then again in heat race number 1 last night, I believe Alex will finally concede. 15 laps in now. You do not want to stay side-by-side like that. It's just going to continue to hurt both of you. So that was, I think, very wise from Alex McCullum to just let the 60 car go for now. Just settle in, run some laps, get some of this race in the books as Stenjum works now on Chase Williamson. Everybody is single file through the remainder of the field. We've been watching that top spot, but everybody else starting to find their place in this field. Tracy Petter, by the way, we talked to him in pre-race. He is down from 3rd to 11th, Zach. He has finally dropped out of the top 10.
This is kind of what to expect when it comes to these cars on this track, kind of this nose to tail. I was talking earlier about how this isn't really a 1-lane track. It's really not, but when people start to fan out a little bit, tires start to wear, it does kind of have that run feel to it, but you can defend, as we saw with Parker Traves and Alex McCullum, to get to the outside and defend a position. Like you said, Tracy Petter fell from 3rd to 11th. Not the slide that he wanted, but then again, we are still under 50 laps, under 20 laps, as we get ready to round that of 250. So a lot of racing still to be had. A lot of change still to be had to the track as well. We're under sun right now, and we expect to kind of finish this as the sun goes down, as the temperature and track expects to get cooler. So still a lot of change to happen throughout the race. Don't really count out anybody, but Tracy Petter did head in the wrong direction. He's kind of stabilized as of right now, just outside the top 10, but the wrong direction, like you mentioned, Andrew.
I would say, based on this here, you know, it's November 20th in sim, 3:08 now, 3:09 almost in sim. I would think we're going to finish somewhere just around 5 o'clock in sim, maybe, probably a little before that actually. So it'll be a little bit before sunset. It's still going to be daytime out there, but we are going to see much longer shadows by the time the checkered flag falls, as you get some looks through the entire field here from our speed shots around the racetrack. Look at this. I mean, this is everybody passing by the start-finish line. The first side-by-side I saw, I think, was Matt Rolfe and Kendall Tucker, the 0 and 00. Now Rolfe sniffs underneath that 6 car. And you know what? We mentioned earlier we would do a best-in-show contest. Zach, I told you while I interviewed those drivers earlier to get a look around the field, pick out your favorites. Who you got?
Well, they're actually side by side with each other, and they actually hold the same number, just in different fonts. I really like the look of the 0, or excuse me, the 000 and the 00. Matt Rolfe, Kendall Tucker. I really like the look of those cars. I'm a big fan of just kind of the simple colors, but that blue and orange with the 00 of Kendall Tucker kind of took me by surprise. But I mean, I really love the look of the black, blue, and white on the 000 of Matt Rolfe. So that's kind of my nod. Those are kind of the two that I really like just in front of them. I do also like the kind of classic look to the 6 of who is there just in front of him. That's going to be Joe Schaefer Jr. He's 6 on Trek 600 in iRacing, but the look to him I really, really like. So these guys that are all bunched together is kind of where I would land, where as far as I like for the paints, the colors on the car.
Well, if you had to pick two, who would it be?
The two would probably be the 00 and the 000. Matt Rolfe and Kendall Tucker would probably be the two that I would pick.
Going to do a slow car. Justin Crowe just slowed down big time. He's down to 30th spot out of 31, but 2.5 seconds ahead of Jake Grout, who seems to have some damage on his car. He is not handling right at all. He has got plenty of right front damage to go around. But as these guys all battle here early, around lap 30 now, I don't think this is going to be any surprise. My two paints that I'm going to nominate are going to be the 78 and 79. I don't think this is any surprise at all to see these two on my list based on what I talked about last night, seeing all these paint schemes unload. Aaron Johnson and Tracy Petter, they fit the bill so nicely. If Steven Oberstadt were in here tonight, if he had made the show, he would have been on my list, I think, over one of these two. But Aaron Johnson, love the fall colors there, the fall flare, and then Tracy Petter right ahead of him. That looks like wrapping paper you could go buy at Target right now. That is amazing. I love every bit of that. The spec map absolutely nailed there. So props to each of their painters. I very much enjoy these two cars. I'm also very much a holiday guy, so I like seeing holiday paint schemes. But regardless, back to things. Nothing has changed out front. I thought something would have by now, frankly, as we get closer to having 20% of this race completed. But nothing has changed between the 60 and the 1. It's still Traves over McCullum. What has changed is third place. Jacob Harberts has moved up, Zach, and I know you're still going to be learning names and associations here. What we know, the regulars around the park here today, is that the 80, Jacob Harberts, is in the same camp as Alex McCullum, so this makes sense to see him moving forward. He's over there at Blackmagic Performance just like Alex McCullum. There's a few other drivers in that group as well. This makes a lot of sense to see the 80 car charging forward this early, just like the 1.
And they kind of had to start around the similar area. Alex McCullum had to start 6th, ran up to 2nd. Jacob Harberts now had to start 9th, has ran up to 3rd. So they've had their fair share of cars to pass. But as we look back here, just the gaggle of cars nose to tail. But one thing that we're seeing, Andrew, a lot of these guys are starting to go up to the high line. They're starting to use the momentum as these tires are starting to fade. They're starting to use the momentum of the high line to really start creating passing, start creating a little bit of battles. The 78 able to pass the 79. Now the 6 is able to get to his outside as well and be able to power. One thing that obviously that creates, the bottom can't really get the momentum rolling. They can't get to the outside. Obviously with the car being out there, they can't really get back to power as quickly as the guys to the outside. So right now being to the inside is a hindrance as we see the 79 fading yet again as we come back up here to the front. The 60 of Traves still holding off the 1 of McCullum. McCullum, the last time we looked, McCullum was about 3 car lengths behind. Now looking to the inside of Traves, not there just yet. but McCollum right on the back end of Traves, looks to the inside yet again. Traves going to get the power out of the corner.
Nice little battle shaping up again between these two. They will have to deal with lap traffic in about 3 more seconds on the racetrack, so probably 10 to 20 more laps. I think they should run down that 49 of Jake Grout. That time McCullum very high in turn 1, arced back down to the inside in turn 2, and there you see that distant dot. That is Jake Grout growing larger and larger in these drivers' windshields. He is an oddity. He is 13.5 seconds behind these drivers that are racing for the lead. Everybody else on the racetrack within 10 seconds of one another, 9.5 really. So everybody else a little bit closer. Jake Grout is the oddity, being this far back this early. He's got that damage we talked about probably 15 or 20 laps ago at this point. But for the race lead, 41 now complete here. We're starting to see a battle shape up again. I think Alex can take a risk here if he wants to and actually battle Parker. The only drawback, Zach, that I see is burning up tires. I think they can manage to battle right now with the gap they've got. It's just going to be a matter of using up those tires this early. You don't really want to do that if you don't have to. I know they've got sets in the pit lane, but you and I both know this. Everybody watching should know this, I would think. Maybe a few that are a little more green to iRacing. You do not want to have to change 4 tires in these cars. You hardly want to change 2. It takes forever to change tires in super late model racing on iRacing.
One of the things that we saw there a couple laps ago with Alex McCollum entering high of Parker Traves, he was actually just about half a lane higher. You saw him try to dart down low. The car wasn't really sticking. He got to the power either just a little bit too quick or carrying just a little bit too much speed. And like Andrew said, you don't want to waste tires on this track. You want to try to conserve them as much as possible. And with that kind of move, that kind of burns him up just a little bit. Now we see him back to the bottom, really kind of bottom feeding now as we get ready to catch the lap car of Jake Grout. He's about 5 car lengths in front of the leaders now. These still side by side right here, but with Parker Traves running that outside, he's really consistent with it. Obviously, McCollum able to get into the corner better, but Traves able to get out of the corner better. But with this lap car approaching quickly, it's just going to be a matter of where Grout's going to be in relation to these leaders. It looks like he's going to choose the high line, so this might get a little dicey real quick. They line back out. Traves back in front of McCollum. It looks like they're going to kind of put their fight on hold for the time being as they get around the lap car of Grout. Now right back to it.
I think what Alex was thinking those laps approaching the 49 was to try and get alongside of Parker and try to use the 49 as a pick and hope that they caught Jake coming onto a straightaway, either out of turn 4 or turn 2, and you know, get Parker stuck in behind Jake Grout to make Parker have to lift and make this pass a little bit easier. That obviously did not happen, so we work lap 49 here, and the 49 car is now 1 lap down. These guys have about 6 seconds on the racetrack, a little more than that, before they catch the next batch of lap cars, and from there it's going to be one after another. So they've got some room for now, but when they catch the next batch, it's going to be a conveyor belt. One in the wall. Oh my goodness. That 49 is not handling right at all.
No, it's really not. He's having a really tough time. And plus, it didn't help that he was outside in the rubber to let some of these leaders by. Obviously, he did get back down out of it when the leaders got by, but still having to be that high is not ideal, especially with the right front issues that he's having. Look at this, having to pretty much steer back to the right to keep that car straight. He's already having steering issues, and now with the leaders all around him, that car is just not handling correct for Jake Grout as of right now.
Remember, the setup data includes the steering offset, so the steering wheel by default is a little bit to the right, but you can still get an idea of how much he's having to correct in the corner when you see the hands move like that, and then again there just a little bit, and then again there a little bit. I mean, he is moving a lot, keeping that car straight. Up front, still going at it for the race lead. I want to cover more of the field, but oh, hello, contact between these two. Oh boy, the spotters getting some ice cream cones, baby. That was really close.
And you could tell that Alex McCollum wants to get by Parker. He might feel like his car is better, obviously, with nobody around him, but Parker's running such a great defensive line. You can see right here in 1, they kind of have to take the same angle in the corner. They get the same exit, but in 3 and 4, if you enter on the bottom, stay on the bottom. You enter straighter as opposed to being on the outside where you get to kind of arc it a bit more. You get to have that run out of the corner. So right now I feel like 3 and 4 is hurting Alex just a little bit more. You see him try to get to the bottom. Car slides up a little bit. Parker able to get back to the power quicker. that just those little bit of miscues is what's keeping Parker in this and what's keeping Alex out of it, out of the lead, I should say. Just those little bit of wiggles, that little bit of overdrive. Obviously, Alex able to get into the corner just a little bit better, but Parker able to get out of it better. Alex going to concede the fight yet again. Parker will be able to hold on. Running that high line consistently hasn't really worn down the tires of the 60. Obviously, the one has more pace. We've seen him fall back and re-catch the 60. But with the 60 running outside, he's not really hurting his tires as much. He's not really having to search for anything. With the one having to get down low, re-catch him, try to battle. The one's really the one running his tires more over the 60 as of right now. So this is just something to keep an eye on as the laps continue to wind down. We're already over the 50 lap mark, almost over the 60 lap mark. So these laps are continuously winding down.
Meanwhile, pole sitter Riley Stengham runs here in the 4th spot, just ahead of Colin Allman. Riley quickly lost the lead and fell back. Only led 2 laps of this race, but has solidified here in the 4th spot, gained some spots back after dropping to 7th. So it's worked back by Colin Allman, Ryan Kuhn, and some others. By the way, Ryan Kuhn, from 2nd in time trial qualifying last night to 10th on the grid, thanks to that redraw, absolutely got nerfed. I mean, to be 2nd quickest and have to start 10th, that is a pain. That is not at all how things went to plan, or how things would have gone to plan for Ryan. So he's got some work to do, but has been putting in the work so far. Up 4 spots from 10th to 6th. Has a little ways to go, but plenty of race to get there. He's going to need a caution or 2, I think, for sure, to bunch this group back up. But he's got time, at the very least, working on his side for now. Behind him, you see still Langford, Chase Williamson, a couple of other really good drivers as of late. Kyle Turzak in the top 10, Josh Cottle as well. Some battles deep in the field, though. Blake Massengill, Grant Brown, how about this? Side by side for 19th. And look who's behind him. Tedeschi, who started very last. He's into 22nd. He has passed Tracy Petter, who started 7th.
Just the flip of the race, only 64 laps, and we were talking to Brian Tedeschi earlier. I mean, if you're at the bottom, the only way to go is up, and he obviously has done that. He's gotten himself into a position where he can pass cars because of just this outside line. Now, with them kind of grouped up right here, it's pretty difficult to try to carry any kind of momentum, but I mean, Tedeschi working really well, but like you mentioned, Tracy Petter started 3rd, has continuously fallen. I think he's just continuously been stuck on that bottom line, hasn't been able to move around much to try to see what his car can do. Hopefully he's able to catch some sort of break here, but with these cars being jumbled up like this, more cars are going to start to funnel in. So if you give a little bit of an opening, sorry, I was on Chase or Grant Brown there. He got a little bit loose out of 2. Apologies. So just now these tires are really starting to fade away from these guys. So now it's just going to be a matter of how well can you manage these the tire degradation, the tire fall off as we've gotten almost 70 laps into this race. How well can you manage that?
Still watching this gaggle of race cars. Tedeschi to the inside of Massengill. That's for 20th. Some racing ahead of these guys, Joel Smith and Aaron Johnson. Plenty of racing to be had throughout the field right now. Cars all over trying to settle these positions. Tedeschi working through. And of course, Tedeschi mentioned in his interview, he's teammates, of course, to all the other posse drivers, one of those being Riley Stengham, who started this race on pole. Granted, that was by the redraw, but that means he qualified in the top 10 regardless to be able to be in that redraw. So some fast cars in that posse group. Tedeschi starting to use that engineering, that know-how to go forward. Again, from 31st to 20th in just these opening 70 laps. A really solid charge through the field so far for car 29. I would say anything north of halfway through the field, anything 15th or better, is going to be a really, really good day, I think, for Brian. I want to go back up to the lead, though, because these guys are starting to close in some more on the back end of the field. And Alex McCollum still just no way by this 60 car. Parker has led for a while now, and Alex has been sitting here, Zach, wondering, when am I going to finally have an opportunity?
I think the opportunity is going to have to come around either some lap cars or a Parker Traves mistake. But I mean, obviously Parker Traves has just been on point, even with the pressure that Alex McCollum has applied to him. No matter what the little door checks, the little contacts here and there. Parker Traves has not bent at all. Obviously, Alex again catching him, looking to the inside. We saw him running up top as he was slowly starting to close in, back to the bottom to try to battle Traves yet again, maybe to cool down those tires. But Traves just on point with it being on the outside. We see McCollum there go to the outside to try to gain a little bit of a run here, maybe to look to see what his car can do on the outside. Gains a little bit there on the back stretch, has to lose it a little bit, and on the entry to 3 and 4, gains it a little bit again out of 4. So obviously McCollum searching a little bit just to see what his car can do. Now to the inside of Traves. Traves powers out of the corner. I mean, if you're Alex McCollum, what else can you do? Obviously, you feel like you've got the car to get by him. You've got the pace to get up next to him, but you just can't get by him. So what else can you do here?
Well, we're past 75 laps complete, and these two still have not been able to sort out who's going to go, who's going to stay. And we get side by side one more time. This track, by the way, from just these opening 80 laps now, look at how rubbered in it is. Look at all the marbles around the racetrack. I think we started with decently high usage to simulate all the racing that's happened this week, Zach, but still, there are tons of marbles already around the racetrack.
I think that just goes to show, too, how much these tires are really starting to fade. We've seen a lot of guys wiggle out of corners trying to get back to the power, which makes this battle up front so much more impressive because they have been battling. They have been on each other almost the entirety of the race, and really none of them have had any major bobble. But that also leads to a little bit of, with the line starting to narrow in a little bit, you jump out just a little bit, you have one little mistake, and you're in the marbles, you're in the rubber, you're having to shake that off for a lap or two, and your pace is going to slow down a lot going through those marbles. So now with these marbles starting to close in, the lines are going to start to really narrow out. These cars are going to get a lot closer than they already are, with McCollum now pretty much even, maybe a little bit out of 4. Note, Traves again is going to get the run, but I think this is the best look that we've seen McCollum have. Usually he's at his left quarter panel out of the corner. Now he's at his door, so this is arguably the best look that McCollum's had on Traves.
Alex McCollum still working, a little bit of contact there across the line, still working and working and working at this number 60 car. Alex, of course, leads the power rankings, the strongest in the field as of these last couple of months of racing. Has had a slow start to things in the Super Series. Finally got a Super Series win this last week at Concord, and of course has the win or two here in the National Tour. But trying to add to it, trying to build something here, trying to go for a championship this season. This is an important step along the way, but he's just got to get by the 60. And as far as Cole Cabry goes, of course, they're battling in the championship. I think we mentioned earlier, if not, Cole's drop round right now is 10th. So him dropping tonight, that 10th place finish will now count, as Alex had the lead there at the line. So Cole will essentially get 10th place points, even though he's not racing tonight, because this will become his drop race. So Alex has to beat that to maintain the gap he has or grow it. Right now, he's certainly exceeding that, as he's got the nose ahead the last couple of laps of that 60 car. But one thing I've noticed as well, Zach, look at the left rear brake rotor on that one car. Even the left front, but the left rear is really glowing. The left front's starting to go orange as well. A lot of brakes being used in that one. It's harder to tell what the brakes look like right now on the 60, but I don't see as much rotor glow there on the 60 car. So Alex is using a lot more brake, it looks like, to maintain that bottom line.
Well, yeah, and I think you hit it right on the head just to maintain that bottom line. He is starting to inch his way a little further and further up front on Parker. I think this is one of those times where Parker may be starting to feel the pressure that Alex has been starting to mount, well, has been mounting for the past almost 70 laps now. But like you said, Andrew, having to use a little bit more brake dooring right there at the line, that might shove Parker up just a little bit in the corner. Parker now going to kind of squeeze Alex just a little bit in the corner there. But like you said, the more brake to help the car slow down in the middle of the corner, that might help him get back to the power a little bit sooner. He's just going to have to be careful with that. We've seen him get a little loose out of the corner right here. Tries to slide up in front of Parker. Parker's going to try to cross him over. Alex might have jumped the line just a little bit, might have some marbles on the outside, but now he has the preferred line. This is going to take both of them out of their comfort zone now. More so Parker Traves, who's been running the outside the entire time. Alex McCollum now to the outside. He's got the preferred line, little bit of tank check in there going into the corner.
And they are quickly closing in again on Jake Grout. That's why Alex is getting a little bit desperate right now, trying to get away from car number 60. Now that he's used the right rear quarter panel a little bit and gotten the position, gets in the wall there. That's okay. He's got the spot. Charges away now from Parker Traves. And Alex McCollum has taken the lead proper here on lap 93 of 250. Jake Grout immediately in the windshield. And then others along the way. RJ Williams is next up after Jake. And then Kyle Meyer, Keith Jeffrey, Justin Crow, Blake Massagill, Mitch Drunowski, and some more up the road ahead of Alex McCollum to put a lap down. And there we go. Jake Grout will go 2 laps down before any of them go 1 lap down. This is a terrible night shaping up for Jake Grout. Had a decent night last night, won the LCQ. Looked like he had a little piece to go racing with, but tonight it has been disastrous so far for car 49. Meanwhile, some racing here towards the back. Tracy Petter has just cleared the 6 of Spencer Dickinson. You see a battle right behind. That is Daryl Hamlin and Grant Brown. They fight for the 23rd and 24th spots. So still, really good racing all around. And, you know, Zach, I never really want to say this because we could easily jinx it, but just like Nashville, this has a green flag look to it. At Nashville Fairgrounds back in October, it was 300 laps for the All-American 300, and we had just 3 cautions. I don't want to jinx anything, but it's looking pretty good right now. We're nearly through 100 laps. No cautions as of yet.
It is looking really good. I mean, with the racing that we've seen, just this really close, it just goes to show the talent that these guys put on in this series, in this league, the talent that they have at their fingertips, really just being this close. One of the things that's always amazed me when it's come to super lates, late between some of the, pretty much throughout the pack now, you do see a gap, but it took 100 laps to get to this point. It took 100 laps to finally be able to catch a little bit of breath, to be able to relax your hands a little bit, maybe not white knuckle it. So it's just always impressive to me to see these, see the talent of super lates, late model drivers, anything that has to do with just bumper to bumper action.
RJ Williams just hit the pit lane a lap ago. Now Blake Massagill hits the pits, and he comes in for service. Will this be a full pit stop? This is just on the edge of when these drivers would need to pit to go to the end, and it will be 2 tires at least up in the air for Blake Massagill. Watching this pit stop currently. Obviously, you want to try and wait for a caution to do this, but Massagill opts to do it here under green. 2 tires down and away for driver number 10. In total, that was 18.27 seconds. For RJ Williams, it looks like it's a similar pit stop, 22.2 seconds. He's down and away, although he did have to come back in a second time, missed his box the first time around, so RJ Williams an extra lap or 2 down.
And you were talking about it earlier, Andrew. You don't want to take 4 tires, and you see why right there. Just 2 tires took 18 seconds, puts Blake Massagill 2 laps down behind these guys. Now he's going to have fresher rights. Let's see if that's able to help him throughout the rest of the race. We've seen the pace that the leaders have. We've seen the pace that Alex McCollum has already put a second and a half in between himself and Parker Traves after that amazing battle that we witnessed for about 90 laps. Already put a second and a half between him and Parker. So Blake Massagill already picking up the pace a little bit, pretty much already caught the leader. So this is also something that if I'm the rest of the field that I'm kind of watching, how quickly can Blake Massagill what kind of laps can he put down? What kind of pace is he putting down on the track? Is it worth me trying? If I'm not as quick as the leader, what else can I do to try to gain some position? So this is something that if I'm the rest of the field, this is what I'm watching right here.
On board with Massagill currently, and we can bring up a lap comparison between these couple of drivers. So as we watch Massagill, the lap times between Alex McCollum and Blake Massagill, I mean, he's over a half second faster on those 2 tires alone. I wonder if that's the play, to get these tires on early or get some track position. as he has unlapped himself once from the one car, but he's still 2 laps down. And we got more drivers hitting the pit lane. Joe Schaefer will hit the pits in car number 6. There you see him hitting the pit lane. Let's see, a posse driver. We've seen posse drivers do decently well tonight. Tedeschi was moving through the field quickly. What's it going to be for Schaefer? I can't imagine anybody takes 4 under green. I think it'll be 2 all around under green. We could see a couple of drivers go for 4 under a caution, but I can't. Yeah, I can't imagine anybody takes 4 under green flag. Schaefer pulls away. And that's a great question in the YouTube chat. These drivers do not have a full tank of fuel at the beginning of tonight's race. Or they do have a full tank, but that's a very clear distinction I have to make. They have a full tank, but they don't have enough to go to the end. So these cars can go about 140 to 150 laps on 1 tank of fuel. Meaning, if this were the real Snowball Derby, for example, there would typically be an opportunity to have a controlled caution, I would imagine. Although actually the Derby might be different. I don't watch the Derby very often. The Derby might have live pit stops. I think that's one oddity where they do have live pit stops, I think, for the Derby. But typically in Super Late Model racing of this length, there's an opportunity for a controlled caution where teams can enter the pit lane and have an opportunity to not lose pit stops but take service, so they can put tires in the car and fill up. That's in real late model racing. On iRacing, we can't do a controlled yellow, and this race doesn't have any predetermined brakes. So with a range of 140 to 150, you can pit really anywhere from lap 100 to 150 and be okay. Because, again, just doing the math, if you have 250 and you can make 150 on fuel, you can break it down a number of ways. So hopefully that helps. No live stops. That's good to know. So question on the YouTube chat. Why are they pitting now? Well, because they can go to the end on fuel. So they can get tires on now, I would suppose, and hope to make on a caution later, or just hope to get track position now and get ahead of some of these guys that are going to pit later, since they will be running faster. Riley Stengham now in the pit lane. There you see car 77 and many others hitting the pit lane. There goes Brian Tedeschi out. So it looks like a lot of posse drivers are pitting a little bit early. Grant Brown just left the pits. And there goes Stengham. 2 tires, some fuel, back out there. So I can't say for sure if they're taking a full tank, Zach. They could be banking on a caution at some point later in the race and hoping to get that as kind of a checkpoint. But they're pitting early, right on the edge of the window to go to the end.
And that's one of the points that I wanted to make too, Andrew. With them pitting right now, they're pretty much banking on either a late caution or being able to run it all the way through. Obviously, you don't want a caution now. That's going to trap you a couple laps down. But with all the cars coming down pit road, obviously the cars that pit earlier than the cars that are coming down pit road now, you're going to be able to gain some time, might even be able to pick up some positions. I've been pretty much watching Blake Massengill just to see how many positions he might be able to pick up from it. I mean, he's been able to fly through the field a lot quicker just because of all the tires that are still out there that have yet to pit. So I could see if you're towards the back, middle of the pack, if you're not really in a position to gain with the tires that you have now, you might as well try it. You might as well try to gain any kind of position, any kind of track position as best as you can by playing some sort of different strategy. And obviously with the strategy that we see some of these guys now, they obviously think it's a valuable strategy to try to come down, get tires, try to take that position, try to take those tires, those fresh tires, and try to gain any little bit that they can. So the drivers see it as valuable. We see pretty much the top 20 now are a lap down because of it. So these drivers see it as valuable, and if I'm the leaders right now, this is something that I'm really, really paying attention to. How quickly can these guys get back around? How quickly are these guys on track right now? Is it worth me giving up my front track position to try this, to try to leapfrog somebody? There's so many factors that go into it, but this is what racing is all about. Chess at 150 miles per hour.
So a number of drivers have pitted. I would say looks like Stengham down through Williams on your ticker. When they come around, they have all pitted. So 22nd on back as RJ Grout has now hit the pit lane. He is there for an extended amount of time. I think he's taking some damage repairs and probably is conceding this race has gotten away from him. There's one more coming in. Kyle Meyer in 21st comes into the pit lane as well. You're watching second and third, and we've just gone past halfway. So I'm going to give you guys until lap 135 for the Best in Show contest. That's 135. That's coming up in about 7 more laps. I want to go back through the options quickly. Even though these guys are battling for a second, we'll come back to it in a moment. But the first of those drivers on that list is going to be Kendall Tucker, the 00. There's a look at his paint scheme. Zach has nominated him along with the 0 of Matt Rolfe. So take a look at the blue and orange here for Kendall Tucker. I do like it. It's a great look. Matt Rolfe has got a special paint scheme here with the Sim Wrap market colors on it for this race. I love the look there as well. Definitely fits the winter vibes. We also have the 78 of Aaron Johnson just ahead in the orange fall Chevrolet Camaro. He's ditched his Mopar headlights and taillights, but very good looking race car there for Aaron Johnson. He is into the 16th spot currently, and then just a little ways behind Tracy Petter in the 79. He has actually dropped to be 2 laps down in 23rd. Actually, there's Tracy Petter right there. Petter going by in the kind of gift wrapping number 79 car, very much fitting the vibe for Christmas, and 'tis the season, as they say. So those are the paint schemes up for vote in the Best in Show contest. You've got just a few more laps to vote. We've got 9 votes. We could pump those numbers up. I know we're having some ISP issues tonight, otherwise internet service provider, so some spectrum drops, unfortunately, but we are recording as a backup. So if you can still hear what I'm saying now, we are recording this race as a backup, this broadcast as a backup, to upload later or splice together whatever we have to do to fit it together to hopefully have a better viewing experience at least later on in the VOD. But for right now, we're monitoring it. We're trying to make small changes to make it a little bit better. I'm going to keep working on it and hopefully get it slightly better at least by the end of this race. But here we go. Tell you what, I'll give you 5 more laps. 140. How's that sound, Zach?
I think that's reasonable.
Watching the battle for second place, Parker Traves led a bunch of this race earlier on. He's just ahead here of Jacob Harberts. And these guys have all got to pit within the next 10 to 15 laps. Matt told me 145 was the distance that they could go on fuel. I know they can save a little bit to extend that out a little bit, but I don't know how much longer they can go than 150. I mean, especially running green flag, racing for the lead, they have all got to pit very quickly. So far, 17 cars still have to pit. They have run this entire race to this point without pitting. 17 cars left to pit. We only have about 10 more laps they can do it on.
And that's the thing, if you're kind of from that 10th back to 17th, I would probably suggest coming in sooner. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know the strategy when it comes to like the super lates or the late models. But that would kind of be one of the things that I would take a look at as we see the top 2, or excuse me, the second and third place drivers of Jacob Harberts bringing the battle back to Parker Traves. Really, really close on the backstretch there. Jacob being able to take that second place. Now that's going to have Black Magic Performance 1 and 2. So right now you can see the Black Magic Performance cars really, really coming to life as the race goes on. But Parker Traves having a little bit of issues. Now, that's one of the things. Now if I'm Parker Traves, I've fallen off the lead. I'm falling back a little bit. When do you pit? You've obviously got to try to do something different from the leaders. You don't have the pace that they have. It's just a matter of when.
So it seems like Matt Rolfe is going to win that Best in Show vote. Oh, I was waiting an extra couple of laps to see if a vote or two was going to be delayed, but nobody else has put in a vote just yet. So it's going to stay as is, and Matt Rolfe is going to take that Best in Show contest in that number 0. He is the final car in the lead lap, and he is pitting now in that number 0, so he will now go at least 1 lap down, as we still have 16 other cars that have to pit in the next 5 to 8 laps. I don't think they can go much beyond that. Again, Matt told me 145. So unless these guys are running 4th gear all of a sudden versus 3rd to have lower RPMs and saving a ton, I don't think they can go much farther. Pit lane is about to be very, very active, as there's Matt Rolfe But let's check out race leader Alex McCollum. When does he hit the pit lane? And also, look at this, Zach. We took a look at the lap times earlier between Massagill and McCollum. It's swapped. McCollum is now faster on those old tires and just put Massagill back down another lap. So that advantage only lasted about 40 laps.
That's true. That's true. And again, that's something that the rest of the field's got to take note of as well. Those tires may not last as long, and his left sides are pretty much even with that of McCollum. Massagill's is. So just with those rights, having that advantage just for those 40 laps, now it's just a matter of what your preference is, what you decide. Man, this is tough. I'm trying to rack it in my brain right now, and it's at every end of the spectrum. So this is a tough decision, especially for these leaders that have the pace.
Here's McCollum.
McCollum come down now.
McCollum comes in. I was just about to say Parker Traves pitted last time around. There's the number 60 finally getting to his box. McCollum comes in. We've also got Daniel Pope on the pit lane. There's RJ Williams back in the pit lane. And RJ pitting again could be a sign that some drivers who already pitted might have gambled a little bit too much and might have to come in again. There's McCollum into the box. Where is the 60? There's Traves. How long is his stop going to be? It looks like 20.45 seconds. Alex certainly will want to try and beat that. Still waiting on Harbor. It's Allman, Kuhn, Langford, and Williamson to hit the pit lane. Those are the top 5, along with several others. McCollum does beat that pit time for Traves. Here comes Kuhn in the 72. He hits the pits along with Williamson, Turzak, and Hamilton. There's the 10 car of Hamilton. How about the 51 of Williamson there? So pit lane, as we said, a busy place right here at this mark. 150 complete, 100 to go. Colin Allman has stayed on the racetrack. He continues rolling a little bit deeper.
And this is where everything is going to start to get a lot more spicy. We've seen a bunch of we haven't really seen a bunch of lap cars, but now we're going to have a mix of tires. We're going to have a mix of strategies. People that have been out there, people that have not been out there, people that have been out there for 15 laps on rights, people that have been out there on 30 laps on the right side. So we're going to see a mixture, a very large mixture of very distinct difference in speed, in traction, in grip. So this is where the race really starts to take a turn right here.
3 drivers yet to pit as Allman hits the pit lane and gets some service. Those cars, Steele Langford, he is your current race leader. He has not yet pitted, now through 154 laps. Kendrick Cryer, who we spoke to in pre-race, and Aaron Johnson in that number 78, all have yet to pit so far for tires or fuel. Watch out for these guys to make a couple of spots up, maybe. I mean, it's a gamble staying out this late on these older tires and less fuel. It's definitely a risk. Here comes Langford. He's going to pit this time.
I mean, trying to catch a caution right here at the end. I think that's what these guys were doing, just the mixture of tires. Big lockup coming down pit road for Steele Langford as we look at Johnson coming down pit road as well. Allman sets new fast laps. So obviously there's some tires that are playing beneficial to some guys right now. So it's just the mixture of strategy, the mixture of grip level is going to be very impactful as the race goes on.
Look at this. McCollum pitted 8 laps ago. We've been covering all the pit stops since then, but Riley Stenjum was able to leapfrog over the 1 car and take on what would have been the race lead for a while. Now, as things cycle out, Kendrick Cryer finally hits the pit lane. McCollum finally passes the 77 car. That was almost a race-leading move from Riley Stenjum, but since we keep rolling green and the pit cycles continue to, well, do that, cycle out, McCollum has driven back around the 77 car and is staged to take the race lead, this time by on the front straightaway. Kendrick Cryer in the pit lane, and the field goes rolling by. Just over 90 laps to go. There goes Cryer back out of his box. Still a lot of race left, Zach. If we get one caution, just one caution, it's going to shake things up entirely.
I think this is still a really good move by Riley Stenjum. We saw the gap that Alex McCollum, Jacob Harberts, and Parker Traves had on the rest of the field. All that was gashed because of this pit strategy. Riley was able to jump in front of Alex, jump in front of Jacob, jump in front of Parker. Now with the tires that he has versus them, he's not going to be able to hold him off too much, but he was able to regain that time. Now it's just a matter of can he hold on to that time. As we look back with Traves and Chase Williamson now. Williamson battling with Traves. Traves falling back just a little bit. Williamson bringing the battle to him. Really loose out of 4. Great save from Williamson. Usually that's not a save that you have, especially with the speeds that you have in this car. Fantastic driving by the 51 of Williamson. Now Turkzak going to bring the battle to Traves as Traves continuously runs that outside. Turkzak drives it in low. He's going to be even with Traves. Traves might have the launch out of the corner. He does, but Turkzak now bringing the battle to him.
And Turkzak, despite Traves leading all those laps earlier, is now meeting this 60 car in stride, battling for 6th position. It's interesting how the start of this race was so heavily Parker Traves out front, and now he runs in 6th place behind 5 other cars. 4 of them kind of all over in that opening run. By the way, Ryan Kuhn actually just passed Riley Stenjum and is ahead of Jacob Harberts. These guys are 3 seconds off of Alex McCullum. But after these pits have cycled out, Ryan Kuhn, big-time beneficiary in all of this, as Stenjum now is getting passed up by Harberts and Allman. The 77 is good, but I think these guys are a little better, as 2nd, 3rd, and 4th slip away from car 77. And earlier on social media, Zach, we put out a Who You Got graphic, as we've been trying to do a little more often. And with Ryan Kuhn back in the field, it felt so proper to just kind of go back to Alex McCullum versus Ryan Kuhn. They are now 1st and 2nd on the racetrack. So we had McCullum and Kuhn in the Who You Got versus the field. Now they lead this race. Alex out front, Ryan 3 seconds back, but in 2nd place. They lead the 11th annual Fall Brawl 250. And if you look through this race's history, it has been heavily Alex McCullum and Ryan Kuhn the last 5 years. They've traded off wins. McCullum won in 2020, and then again in 2024. The 3 races in between, 21, 22, 23, they were all won by Ryan Kuhn. Before that, it's a little more all over the place. Ryan Borges won in 2015, the inaugural Fall Brawl 250. Then it was Tim Bills in 2016. Trevor Edwards won back in 2017. Ryan Doucette in 2018. Colin Allman, who runs right behind these guys in 4th. He won this race back in 2019. But since then, it's been all Kuhn or McCullum. They are the 2 out front with 80 to go.
So there's a little bit of chip on the shoulder for the rest of the field to try to get up there and break up the tandem that has won the last 5 years of Alex McCullum and Ryan Kuhn. Ryan Kuhn doing a great job of holding off Jacob Harberts. You would think with all the strategy calls that Harberts wouldn't have any kind of issue getting to and passing Kuhn. He's gotten to Kuhn, but he hasn't been able to get any kind of position. Now, one of the things that I did want to mention was, look how many lap cars, look how many different strategies we have playing in between these guys. This is what's going to be a big beneficiary for some of these guys that pitted early, that was able to leapfrog some of the front runners. Just some of the lap cars in between. The other cars trying to come through that may have fresher tires are going to have to battle with these guys. May not be much of a battle, but it's still something that would tear up the tires just a little bit more. As we see just the battle between Kuhn and Harberts right now. Harberts right on his...
Yeah, it's a race for 2nd place right now. McCullum out to lunch as these guys battle behind him. Parker Traves, Kyle Turczak, they run side by side back here for 6th position ahead of Chase Williamson. They're starting to run down the 77 of Riley Stenjum, but have still nearly a second to go to get to that car. And look at this stack up with Turczak on the inside of Traves. They stack up behind Jeffrey. Keith Jeffrey now goes low. Turczak kind of boots him out of the way. Parker Traves almost splits the 88 to the outside. Williamson gets sideways behind this, and this brings Steele Langford into the conversation. Lap traffic, I mean, if you were a fan here in any one fan position and you just counted cars, or not even counted, but if you went one by one, car after car after car that passed you, 100 laps ago, they would mostly be in positional order. Now, forget it.
Just a whole mix, just a whole slew. We see the gaggle up here, and maybe 3 or 4 of these are for top 10 positions. I mean, these could be all battles for position, sure, but I think three or 4 of these cars may have positional battles inside the top 10, and there's about 7 or 8 cars stacked in this. So just with all these lap cars coming in between, you saw Traves and Williamson looking to split the, I believe it was the 88, looking to go 3 wide in the middle of turns 3 and 4. We might have to see it again right here. Traves going to look to the outside with the lap car right in front of them. Williamson right behind him now of the 86. They might have to look 3 wide, but the big wiggle again, 3 wide from the 33 coming in. They back out of the 3 wide, but now side by side, Williamson still trying to look to the inside of Traves. Not going to happen. Williamson and the 33 now of Langford going to battle it out.
Langford gets alongside Chase Williamson, but has that slower car just ahead in Justin Crowe. So kind of a roadblock for that 33 car. Great battle sparking up for second as well. We got to keep an eye on all of this. And this is just fantastic stuff as these guys continue to try and fight this out. This is 7th, 8th, 9th as Spencer Dickinson goes to the high side. Spencer is now dropping to 24th position, 1 lap down. Justin Crowe finally drops out of this. Josh Cottle goes by. Cottle is 10th and has caught these guys. So now he's going to have a go at things if he can just get up there to Langford. Williamson slices underneath the 60 car.
One of the shout-outs that I want to give is to the lap cars. I mean, obviously it's stressful for these lead lap cars to be in the situation where you're trying to get around a slower car, and you know that you're the faster car around these guys. But on the other end of the spectrum, being the slower car, you don't want to slow these battles down, and you don't want to be a hindrance to any of these battles. And being a slower car, you don't want to put yourself into trouble with no cautions as of right now. With these slower cars still intermingled in between this, as you see Williamson right on the left rear of Traver, still not letting him get away. The shout out I got to give is just to some of these slower cars, not really panicking.
Seeing 3 wide, still Langford to the inside of Chase Williamson here. Parker Traves on the outside. And Josh Cottle right in behind. I want to break the 4th wall for a second as we watch this fight. And just talk to you guys, the viewers, here quickly. I'm seeing the internet drops. I'm still trying to do things in the background to try and fix it. It's on the internet side. It's on the ISP side because I'm not losing connection to the sim. I'm not seeing any blinks or anything in the sim, so nothing is having an issue there. It's something with the upload on Spectrum's side. So it's going to be. We're working with it. We're doing what we can. I'm recording as a backup. Somebody needs to tell Spectrum to give us the upload we pay for. That's all I can say. But we are continuing to watch this as we hit 55 laps to go here in just a moment. This is Chase Williamson passing Parker Traves. Still Langford on the inside. Josh Cottle makes up your top 10. Cameron Hamilton works on, or rather is ahead of Kendall Tucker back here. These fights, none of these fights around the racetrack are as good as this right now. Not even Kuhn and Harberts. This is the best fight on the racetrack currently.
And it's so frustrating. You see these two battling. Oh, the 33 gets up into the 51. Another great save from the 51 of Williamson. He's going to have to give up 2 positions now as Cottle and Langford are going to be able to go by. And that's what I was going to mention. It's so frustrating. See, the 51 gets into the back of the 13. He's
what a drift!
Save it. Oh, my God.
Unbelievable, Josh Cottle. How in the heck? I was about to say, lucky performance, lucky break of the day to Chase Williamson for hanging onto the race car twice. Josh Cottle just drifted 3 and 4. Now his tires are going to be roasted. It's going to take 20, 30 laps to get him back to where he needs him to be. But that was absolutely insane. Didn't really lose much as a result. It's lap cars right behind him. That deserves a replay.
unbelievable. Like you mentioned, Andrew, those tires are going to be a little smoked. We saw the contact between the 33 and the 51 just ahead of him. Cottle looked like he was going to be the biggest beneficiary coming out of it because he was able to pick up 2 positions. Williamson drives it in just a little bit too hard, gets into the back of the 13.
So there was the save for Williamson.
I saw Williamson come over the radio. I'm not sure what he said. I'm sure it was an apology. Nothing come over as far as the 13 camp of Josh Cottle. But look at this. Wow.
Unbelievable. And Justin Crowe, what a pedal to miss that.
What a heads-up play to get on the brakes, not get into his driver's side door there from the 86. Just incredible driving by this stack of people right here.
Josh Cottle, watch this. Full right lock. Let it out. Back in the power a little bit. Oh my gosh.
That's such... You don't catch that. You normally do not catch that. What an incredible save by Cottle.
One more time. I can't get enough of this. Zoomed in from the tower. Just watch this. Oh my gosh.
Especially
Formula drift could never.
To not overcorrect it back into the pit side wall. You saw the back end wiggle. That car wanted to keep going. Just being able, the car control is insane. Heads up, driving by the 86, but what a save by Cottle.
Yeah, that was great avoidance by Justin Crowe. You can tell he practiced on the old NASCAR games. But Josh Cottle, there is no litmus test for what he just did in turns 3 and 4. That is just pure bad man behind the wheel. I mean, that was insane. I can't believe that. And we're inside now, 50 to go. This race is quickly ramping down. One thing we've not yet checked out, and we'll do so here as we watch our race leader work through some lap traffic. I want to look at the schedule. We haven't taken a look at this graphic yet today. Next up, we've talked about it verbally, the Thanksgiving Classic and the Kern Winter Classic. We've got late model stocks coming up at Southern National Motorsports Park in Lucama, North Carolina. That's December 4th. And then December 18th, we take these cars, the super lates, back out at Kern. And I want to bring this back up now as we move to end this race in the next 42 laps or so, because that's what's suddenly going to be on these drivers' minds. It's no Super Series for another month and a half almost. It's just big events. Whether it's the iRacing Winter Derby coming up and all these leagues trying their hand at other forms of Winter Derbies, or these National Tour events for these drivers in particular at Southern National and at Kern. That's what's on their minds. Big races, get these setups dialed in. They have nearly gotten through 5 flags. They're starting to feel like the weight is lifted off their shoulders in some cases, but they still have these final 40 laps to get through. We have gone caution-free to this point. Never thought I would have seen it. Yet here we are, caution-free for 210 laps. Is it going to last? As we have 3 in the pit lane. Those are Massengill, Williams, and Grout out of this race. 28 still running on the racetrack actively for these 200 and some odd laps. 40 to go. This has been an absolute show by the best short track drivers on the sim. The Sim Auto Racing Association is here to stay. And I want to give a big shout out to all the partners here with the series. Cody Williams Design, Crow Sim Shots, Impel Motorsports, Nautical Marine, Only Short Tracks, Privateer Race Products, RJW21 Management, SARA Templates, SimRepMarket.com, the Association, Thronberg Construction, Trackside Threads, Velocity Motorsports. This is the coolest short track racing we could possibly ask for. All these drivers, tip of the cap. It's been fantastic. We still have a little ways to go as we take a look here at Cameron Hamilton putting the pressure on Josh Cottle. I think Josh might let this one go because he's still got those burnt up tires. But it would be 2 spots now because Kendall Tucker's there.
Yeah, I mean, with these two, with the tires that Cottle have now, it's like you said, Andrew, it's going to take a little while for those tires to calm down. He has fallen off extensively off of Williamson, off the Traves battle. He's fallen off almost a second and a half from that battle. So now it's just a matter of trying to stop, well, not even stop the bleeding. He hasn't really been bleeding at this point, but with these 2 right on his back bumper, Cameron Hamilton, Kendall Tucker, now it's just going to be a matter of preventing the bleeding, so to say. He's on arguably the hottest tires right now because of that big slide that we saw earlier. So now it's just a matter of preventing the bleeding. But we see the 00 and the 10 right bumper to bumper in the middle of the corner. One little slip up, and we might have another Josh Cottle type of save here going into 3 and 4. So Cottle takes the outside there, kind of takes away the preferred line from the 10 of Cameron Hamilton. That's going to leave the door open for Tucker. Tucker going to try to take the outside as well, tries to shift over, almost gets button hooked right there in the middle of the corner. They stay straight. Now the 10 going to go to work on the 00.
Nearly 30 laps to go. These guys, they're on worn out left side tires. Right sides that are nice and hot, operating temperature, but are just hanging on. Fuel is getting low. Patience is running thin. And we still have a battle for second to figure out. Jacob Harberts is still pretty close to Ryan Kuhn. And Zach, at this point, I think it's time. You know, I've been trying to wait until later on in these races, especially short track races, because anything can still change. A caution at this point could change a whole lot. But let's go ahead and hit up driver of the day, I think, at this point, because there you see Cottle has just lost that spot to Hamilton. I mean, we're right down to the nitty-gritty. Last 25 laps or so, we've just got to go ahead and get it done. North American Racing League driver of the day. I'll give you a reprieve. Since you're new to these guys, I'll go first with my 2, but start getting your 2 ready. Is there any other contender we could go with first? I mean, Alex McCullum, 131 laps led. Is there anybody else we could put first on this list? I don't think so. Obviously, Parker Traves was great in the early going, but Alex McCullum was there the entire way. I feel like this number should technically be higher. Parker Traves is just really good at defending on the outside lane. Alex McCullum, all the way, I think has to be in this vote. Look at today in a vacuum, I think 100% he has been the best. He was fastest in qualifying yesterday. Alex McCullum, for me, certainly has to be on this list. But then if I look at positions gained and consider the rest of the field a little bit, Kendall Tucker is up 11 spots. Brian Tedeschi's up 11 spots. They are easily contenders. Kyle Turzak is up 7. Ryan Kuhn is up 8. I don't want to keep it bland and just go for second place. I want to move around a little bit. We talked to him in pre-race. Brian Tedeschi, I think, is a pretty cool story. I know it's not as high as we would have liked to have seen out of Brian, but hey, he's still got 20 or so laps. Let's see if he can get a little higher. I think Brian Tedeschi is my other nomination here.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was looking at too, Andrew, just the positions gained. We saw how difficult it was to pass in the earlier going, and now even more so difficult just with all the cars lingered in. So I guess my first nomination would have to go to Ryan Kuhn. We really didn't talk about him a lot at the first part of the race. It was nothing but Alex McCullum, Parker Traves, maybe a little bit of Jacob Harberts here and there. Ryan Kuhn was just kind of middle of the top 10, not really going anywhere. After the pit stops, being able to jump into P2 and hold P2. Jacob Harberts still close. Obviously, you see right here Kuhn having to hold him off, but he's doing such a great job holding off P2, probably on older tires over Jacob Harberts. I'm going to have to give one of my nods to Ryan Kuhn to be able to not only hold off that position, but put down still solid lap times. He has fallen off from the leader just a little bit. That's to be expected when the leader's all by himself, really no competition. I got to give one of my nods to Ryan Kuhn. Another driver that I got to take a look at, now just cracked the top 10, would probably have to be Kendall Tucker. Like you had mentioned, him up 11 positions inside the top 10. Again, the difficulty of passing at the beginning parts of this race. He did move up pretty much just outside the top 15 there for a little bit, but now inside the top 10, just on the back end of it, but still inside the top 10, trying to run down the 60 of Parker Traves. A fantastic run from Kendall Tucker as we take a look back up here to the fight between Ryan Kuhn and Jacob Harberts. Now Harberts to the inside of Kuhn. Kuhn holding strong on that outside with this 000 right behind them. Lap car of Matt Rolfe, but still these two going at it. Kuhn gonna have the run outside of turn 4. Harbert's gonna have the run going into 1. Just a fantastic battle here for second.
Still over 15 laps to go between these two. Alex McCullum, 5.5 seconds up the road, but these two have been really, really good today. I do want to give Jacob some recognition here. He's been fantastic, has driven through the field, been up front most of this evening. And it's interesting. I think this is a pretty important battle to them as a team because they want to put as many of their cars up front. They have Kendall Tucker now in the top 10, but they would love to lock down first and second and have a BMP 1 and 2 between McCullum and Harberts. So I think there's a lot personally riding on this for Jacob Harberts. I'm not entirely sure about Ryan Kuhn. Obviously, he wants to finish up high. He's not really in it for the standings. I think just he would selfishly like to finish there. But I think there's a lot riding on this for Harberts as they've got Matt Rolfe right behind to police them. Make sure there's no contact between these guys. Obviously, contact, we talk about it all the time, very heavily penalized in this series. Got to make sure they finish this one out clean.
You saw Ryan Kuhn there really pinch down the 80 of Jacob Harberts there in the middle of 3 and 4, not allowing him to get any kind of run in the middle of it this time. He's going to be about half a lane up. He's going to exit almost on his door. But as you can see from the blimp, you can kind of see where the lines have been all race long, the rubbered in parts of the track. This is really where you want to be. One little step out of it and you're gone. Ryan right back down on the door of the 80. The 80 kind of uses a little bit of a diamond line, gets in a little hot, drifts up just a little bit, gets back down out of the corner. He's going to do the same thing here in 1 and 2. Kuhn being able to hold on to that outside. The 80 just nudging ahead little by little. Kuhn's going to have to do something here. Almost look like the 80 of Harberts is going to clear. Kuhn's going to have a run out of 4. You saw that car wiggling just a little bit. These tires are hanging on for dear life.
10 to go. Vote driver of the day. Those of you on YouTube, there's a bunch of you watching. We appreciate you doing so. Just asking you to go ahead and click a button real quick. Pick your driver of the day. You can wait until the race is over if you want to. That's fine too. As Jacob Harberts, I think, has finally got Ryan Kuhn where he wants him. Yes, car 80 clears for that second place. On board here with Ryan Kuhn as the sun sets behind turns 3 and 4. We're going to have sunlight all race long, but these shadows are nice and long. It's a nice fall day here in virtual Pensacola, Florida. And look at that. Kyle Terzak has charged through the field. So it's BMP 1-2, Black Magic Performance, the first 2 spots. Now Ryan Kuhn Motorsports, 3rd and 4th, as Terzak will jump into that 4th spot, passing Steele Langford. And then it's the Posse in 5th and 6th. Really cool how this has worked out, actually. Very interesting as well as Langford and Stenjum run 5th and 6th. I don't think Steele's done with Kyle just yet. 5 laps to go nearly. It's really close.
Yeah, it's pretty much I'll take no give for these guys right here underneath 5 laps to go. Terzak was going to be one of the guys that I selected for driver of the day. He is also one of the biggest movers on the race, from 12th now inside the top 5, holding on to that 4th spot right in front of Langford. So he was one of the noms, but I had to give it to Tucker just because of the positions gained. Big wiggle from both of them, but Langford going to have the better drive going into 3 and 4. Now, Terzak's going to have to hold strong on the outside. We've seen that outside be so dominant as far as being a defense. That inside's been able to power through, but it's taken multiple laps. Terzak here in the best position to hold on to that position. But I think with it coming down to the end of the race with Stenjum right here with them as well, you're going to have to really be careful with your moves and your blocks.
Very good racing here for 4th and 5th. Alex McCullum, though, dives into turn number 1. 2 laps to go here at the Virtual 5 Flag Speedway. He is lapped up through into the top 10. He has just put teammate Kendall Tucker 1 lap down. The white flag presented by Whiplash SimCams is now out on a caution-free Sim Wrap Market Fall Brawl 250. Simply put, the Sim Auto Racing Association is the place to race, and Alex McCullum is the driver to beat 2 years running. Alex McCullum wins the Fall Brawl 250. Driver number 1 back on top of the series, looking down on everybody below and extending his lead in the National Tour. Job well done by Alex McCullum.
A very job well done as he comes to the stripe to do his well-deserved burnouts. He took the lead and did not look back, did not give it up. With the he gets it to the wall. all during the burnouts. You hate to see that, but still well-deserved burnouts from McCollum. Langford and Turkzak, you saw their drive to the line. Langford able to outdo Turkzak right at the line. Little less than a tenth between those two, but Black Magic performance 1-2. They're at the stripe right here. Fantastic drive from those two drivers. Fantastic drive from McCollum.
Incredible job all around at Black Magic Performance. 3 of their drivers in the top 10, but more importantly, they locked down first and second. Alex McCollum, some eccentric burnouts there on the front straightaway. You see the drone just looping around that number 1 car. Incredible stuff by Alex McCollum once again here today. Let's look at the stats. Bring down this graphic. Look at the stats here. 159 laps led, nary a breakout there for anybody. Caution free here tonight. That is hard to find. I challenge you to go find another Winter Derby style event, because I know this is the Fall Brawl, and it's kind of its own thing for 250 laps instead of 300 here at Five Flags. But I challenge anybody out there to go find another group of drivers that can have this competitive, this high in SOF, and run 250 or anything like this at Five Flags caution free in today's iRacing world. That is just insane. You just don't find that anymore. That is incredible, and the whole league needs to hang their hat very highly on that number. Here we go. Alex McCollum, through your unofficial race results, of course, wins this one. 159 laps led. That's a staggering number. Alex McCollum gets it done over Jacob Harberts by nearly 7 seconds. That's another staggering number. Ryan Kuhn, 8.3 seconds back in third. Very spread out top 3, then things got very close. Steele Langford narrowly over Kyle Turzak for 4th. Turzak in 5th. Stenjum started on pole, kept it in top 10 all race long. I think this is a pretty strong day for Riley, and I think this kind of puts him on the map a little bit. I think he should be watched out for in future races. Maybe a little more than previously. I think that was a really good showing for Riley. A quiet race for him, though. Same for Chase Williamson. He has been getting better and better. And if he's not in the Super Series next season, I'm going to wonder why. He has been on it lately, subbing for Casey Kelly, shows up today to race for himself and does a fantastic job. So shout out Chase Williamson. Colin Allman as well, kind of getting back in the picture. I know he's a former winner of this event. We haven't seen him as much here on Pit Stop TV, at least. This is another great showing out of him. And Parker Traves led all those laps early, couldn't quite close it out, finishes 9th, but clearly shows that he can get it done still here in the SARA National Tour. And then, of course, Kendall Tucker rounds out your top 10, albeit 1 lap down.
Behind them, Cameron Hamilton and Kendrick Cryer are going to be 11th and 12th. Joel Smith, Daniel Pope, 13th and 14th. All these guys throughout the rest of the top 20, 1 lap down. Matt Rolfe and Jacob Hayes will be 15th and 16th respectively. Brian Tedeschi, like you said, Andrew, was trying to get to that top 15, almost cracked it at a P17 finish, 1 lap down from 31st all the way to 17th. A fantastic drive from Tedeschi. He will finish 17th. Aaron Johnson, 18th. And Tracy Petter, we talked about him going backwards a little bit at the beginning of the race. He wasn't able to get back to his top 10 form. He will finish 19th. And Josh Cottle, after that amazing save that we had mentioned before, will finish 20th on the field today.
Back in 21st this evening, how about driver number 6? Joe Schaefer Jr. hangs on for a decent finish. Daryl Hamlin, by the way, moved up. He made it in through a provisional last night. Couldn't quite get in through the heats or the LCQ. Shows that he found some speed, though, between last night and today. Hamlin drives up through the field to 22nd. Justin Crowe hangs on for a 23rd place finish. From here on back, 2 laps down or more. A lot of rough days for these guys. Keith Jeffrey, Mitch Drunowski, Spencer Dickinson, Grant Brown, and Kyle Meyer all finish 2 laps down, wishing there had been a caution or two to give them an opportunity to get back up on the pole. Blake Massagill in 29th, out of the race early, along with RJ Williams. And at the very back end of the field today, unfortunately, Jake Grout just did not have it to hang in with the field, 130 laps down. So, post-race then kicks off by bringing in the same driver for the 2nd year in a row. 3rd total win in this event, Alex McCollum. Man, I'll let you catch your breath a little bit. I'll do the same. Caution free here, obviously. I don't think anybody expected that. That's a really hard thing to cope with all of a sudden. Expecting maybe at least a couple of stoppages. Caution free. How tired are you?
I'm pretty calm, pretty normal right now. I just have really bad arm pump. So, I mean, I can't say much about this car. This thing was absolutely flying. I mean, I was getting held up pretty bad in the beginning there on, I was getting a little impatient. Had the guys in Discord kind of calm me down a little bit because our car was so fast. And, yeah, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I found something with 30 minutes left of testing, 8 o'clock, and I'd say we found it.
Yeah, you seem to have found it for sure. You cleared even your teammate today by nearly 7 seconds in a caution-free 250-lap race. Obviously, this just pads the numbers, right? You already have the points lead. Cole's going to have to fall back on a drop race. This is going to help you out a lot in that regard, and definitely puts you squarely back on top of the national tour at least. But how do you continue this through all of the special events in the next month and a half at the end of the year? How do you continue this when we come back in January for the Super Series?
Yeah, I mean, just keep working hard. I've been struggling a little bit in the Super Series. We've been trying stuff weekend out, and we tried some stuff at Concord, tried a little bit of stuff here tonight, and I think once we get some stuff a little bit figured out, we're going to be ripping again. So, I just can't thank those guys enough. Jacob, Kendall, Dante, Blake, Magnum, Chubbs, all those guys that put in so much work with us. It's just a really good group. So I'm so surprised this race went green the checkered. I don't know.
On that note, I said there at the end of the race, I challenge anybody to go out on iRacing and find another group of drivers that can do it this well, caution-free like this, in this car, at this track, this number of laps. Is this at least a golden age of this league?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's getting better every week. You know, the problem is everyone's so fast and so close, so then that's what causes the wrecks. I mean, all these guys are like, can win a race in the Super Series, this race. It just has to be your day and have a good car under you. So, I was super surprised this one green the checkered. I mean, I think if we did get a yellow, I think we would have been fine, but it's even cooler for the race to go green the checkered.
Alex McCollum gets it done here at Five Flags Speedway, second year in a row, third year total that he gets it done in this fall brawl. Congratulations, Alex. I think you're squarely back on top.
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody at BMP. We put in a lot of work recently, the past couple weeks. Justin Brooks for the designs, throwback to one of my buddies, Vintage Muds. So pretty cool to get a win in this car for him. And yeah, thank you guys for broadcasting. Matt for putting the event on. It's always pretty cool to race this event.
It is a good-looking paint scheme. I like the silver look. Congratulations, Alex. We'll move on down to second place, though, and that is going to be Alex's teammate, Jacob Harbert. It's kind of partner in crime. Zach, here he is.
Talking to second place finisher Jacob Harberts. We saw an incredible battle there between you and Ryan Kuhn. We'll get to that here in a second, though, because you started P9 on the field, had to drive up to P3. Talk to us a little bit about that start. It looked a little, it didn't really look chaotic, but I mean, just with how close these guys are week in and week out, like we were just talking to Alex about how just the talent in this league, how difficult was it to go from P9 to P3 there at the start of the race?
Man, this car was so dang fast to fire off. It really wasn't too bad, along with a lot of the cars that I was racing against. I was lucky to, kind of show a nose, and they would, give me plenty of space or just give me the spot, because, long race, and we're thinking, just survival, but turns out, went green to checkered. So, I mean, really, every spot mattered during that race. But huge thanks to Alex. He put a lot of work on the setup this week, and it showed. I mean, 1-2 finish, super fast. We had no problem. Well, Alex did have a little bit of a problem getting to the lead, but then once he got there, he had a pretty clean night. And fortunately for me, I kept the nose clean, and the car came back to me those last 20 or 30 laps. I think in combination with Ryan, he's started falling off on tire wear, and it just worked out perfect.
Talk to us a little bit about that lead. We very, very heavily documented the battle between Parker Traves and your teammate Alex there. BMP3 being a competitor, but also seeing your teammate up there trying to get past the leader. Was it more so like, yeah, these guys are battling, I get up there, or was it more so just hoping Alex can get by him so you could try to take your shot at Parker?
I was just hoping he could get by. Especially early, it's better to just get the track position while you can. And I knew Alex was a little bit quicker than me anyway. I was matching their times or maybe catching him a little bit early when he was stuck behind Parker. But when he would kind of lag back and then, get back on it, going 100%, he was going quicker lap times than I was. So I wasn't too concerned about hoping Parker was holding him up and giving me a chance at the lead.
And then right there towards the end, you did mention the green to checkered pretty much. That's something that doesn't really seem like a lot of people were expecting, but you were battling Ryan right there towards the end. He held a pretty line pretty much the entirety of it with his older tires. I believe he was able to jump just because of pits. Talk to us a little bit about that battle, and how hard were you trying to get around Ryan there, as he's I believe Andrew was saying 3 of the last 6 now he's been a winner of this race. So was that at the back of your mind at all? What was going through your mind through that point?
Well, I knew he pit before me, so I was really hoping my tire advantage. I would have been able to put it to use early in the run, because that's when the tires actually make the biggest difference, is right away, because lap times drop off kind of quick, and then at a certain point they don't even out, but they start tapering off a lot slower. But I wasn't able to do it, and then I started getting tight, and I really was losing time, nearly half a tenth a lap at one point. So I didn't have any pressure out back, and I was pretty content just riding third, just kind of, I was like, this is what I got. But like I said, about 30 to go, I started reeling them in, and my car started freeing back up, and I knew I had a good shot at it. But it was an awesome battle, and shout out to Ryan. He always races real clean, and once again, have another clean battle with him. It was a ton of fun.
Well, we appreciate you jumping up here, and congratulations on your P2. Congratulations on BMP being 1-2 on the day. So a huge congrats to you guys.
Thank you.
I actually have a question for you real quick, Jacob. Almost said Josh almost, but on that note, for you and Alex to be 1 and 2, how big is that for you guys specifically? I know Kendall had the kind of flu game and he was under the weather all day, but how important is it for you guys, you and Alex, to be at the top of this field?
It feels great. We've kind of had a rough Super Series season. I have 1 win and he has 1 win, but other than that, it's been really up and down between being involved in crashes. Some of it our own doing. But that's part of racing, so it really just feels good to have what it seems like everything go right for a night. It feels really good. We put quite a bit of time and effort into building these setups and getting them ready for each race, so it just feels really, really good to have everything pay off.
There you go, Jacob Harbur's 3 laps led through all the pit cycles and everything, and good to talk to you, Jacob. Best of luck next time out.
Thank you.
That is driver number 80. We'll move on back to Ryan Kuhn. This guy, we talked to him briefly at the end of Concord. I think he finished 3rd in that race as well. Regardless, I think Ryan Kuhn is back. It's been a little while since we've seen you be this competitive at the front of these SARA fields. For a little while there, before you kind of took your hiatus, Ryan, it was kind of like struggling to get things moving the right direction. A lot of bad luck. It seems like that has been shaken. 3rd place tonight. Is that a success overall, or did you want that 2nd or 1st spot?
Overall, it's success. I kind of figured the reason why I was falling back, we took obviously right sides in that pit stop, and I ultimately just lost the left rear tire. Because I thought I was in really good shape. I was able to pull away from Harberts a little bit, and then as soon as I got by Rolf, I'm getting really loose really loose, even looser every lap, lap after lap after lap, and I said, yep, I lost the left rear, I burned it up. So, and then he was able to get back by me, and at that point, I was just make it to the end and don't do nothing dumb. So, able to make it to the end, finish third, and overall, I'm happy with it, to be honest with you. Starting 10th, green to checkered. I mean, who would have thought?
And in Jacob's conversation just now, it kind of seemed like a lot of these guys, and we saw it on the racetrack, as we typically do in these races, first 50 laps or so, everybody's settling in, trying to find their place in the field. You'll give guys a lot of breaks. That's normal in these longer races. That's what you should do, right? At least what we think, because we're expecting some cautions down the road. We're not expecting 250 green continuous. If you could go back to the opening 50, 75 laps, would you do anything differently? Would you be more selfish to hopefully be a little closer to maybe be ahead of Jacob or even closer to Alex?
I mean, honestly, not really. I think everyone played pretty nice early on in the race. I think people gave me more than I gave back in the early portions. So I honestly think it worked out for me, which I appreciate everybody that playing nice early. But honestly, I kind of rode around there. I think I was in 6th for a while, and that's about what I had at that point, a 6th place car. I knew as soon as we put tires on it, and I needed that last yellow, and I think we could have been able to race with Alex. But I think we were about a 6th place car at the start, a 2nd place car at the end for a while until I lost the left rear tire and ultimately backed up. But everyone played really nice. Even everybody in the back with lap down cars, they played really, really nice, really good. Everyone was given extra room, which was really, really great, which is really rare. But overall, I had a blast. I don't know how you guys thought about it, but I had a blast. I hope everybody who's watching had a blast. I had a great time.
It was definitely a lot of fun to watch you guys battle the race cars and the racetrack and each other at times. Some great saves out there. I'm curious though, for Ryan Kuhn, those New England winters, they're pretty harsh. It's kicking off. I'm sure snow is on the way very, very soon. So a little bit less of the real life stuff. Do we see you kind of fully commit here over the winter and get back full swing with these guys?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I'm still kind of undecided. There's still a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I actually got to get back to work on another job here shortly, so I'm not sure yet. It's really going to depend on time, and yeah, it's really mainly time. I'm going to put as much effort as I can to get all my guys on the Super Series to the best runs they can. Tarzak showed it at IRP. We showed it at Concord. We were really good at Concord. Thought we were really good here tonight. So the lack of effort, it's not for a lack of effort. So we're gonna keep trying some stuff, and even if that means I gotta stick with the crew chief role, I'll keep trying some stuff while these guys race. I always tell my guys I put you guys first before me, 100% of the time, including my customers, all my RKM customers. I always put them first. So it's really it's up in the air. It's a big question mark, but I guess it depends on some of the mystery nights as well.
Well, it's been good to see you back out here at the top level of the SARA Super Series and National Tour. Congratulations, Ryan. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Thank you, guys.
Ryan Kuhn back out there with the best of them. It's good to see that for Ryan again. He's one of the best, and for a little while there he was kind of all over and maybe not performing where he probably should have been for a little while. And in this effort, in this kind of comeback, not quite victory obviously tonight for him, but comeback performance, he does nab tonight's driver of the day vote by 50%. Well, he gets 50% of the vote, so 22% over Alex McCollum. That's pretty astounding, honestly. I expected Alex to maybe run away with it a little bit, maybe even Tedeschi in his position, but Ryan Kuhn takes today's driver of the day vote, brought to you by the North American Racing League. So props to Ryan there, getting that nod, and I think that's still fitting. I think I personally, if I could just give it to a driver, Zach, I would have gone Alex, but I think it's still fitting for Ryan to get a nod here, given all the circumstances and being out of the virtual seat for a little while, jumping back into it like this these last couple of races.
I completely agree, especially with jumping out for a little bit and coming back in. The rust is real. Some people may not expect it as far as sim racing, but the rest is real. The rest can start to overtake a little bit. So to just jump back in and get back in and pop off of P3, it's fantastic to see from him.
By the way, I want to circle back on Josh Cottle. We're going to give him the lucky performance, lucky break of the day, but also acknowledge how painful that slide was for him. He mentioned in unofficial Discord conversation that his left rear let go. I think right at the end of the race, he did lose a lap in all of that, despite hanging on to the race car. And it's a lucky break he didn't crash it, because that could have been, quickly 28th spot out of the race. But it still is a sour taste, I think, in Josh's mouth after all of this. To have gone from fighting for a top 10, get hit into turn 3. Yes, he saved it, but he lost about 10 spots, finished 20th and made 1 lap down. So we do hate that for Josh. I think his result certainly not indicative of the speed he had, and that's 2 top-level SARA races in a row now where he has very much struggled to get the result that I think he truly deserved. I just want to acknowledge that for Josh tonight, because that's just not what you want to see at the end of the day for a driver that's been putting all this work in. Cottle Chassis, his name's on a lot of these race cars, so we hate to see that for Josh. But for next up for this series, again, we are heading out kind of on a break this next week or so. You see Southern National next up on the schedule list, the Thanksgiving Classic coming up, brought to you by Privateer Race Products. That is also one of our next broadcasts here at the channel. There you see the late model stock on the screen, Zach, alongside the ARCA car for a couple of BRB Sundance Pro Series events coming up. We are off for the rest of November, so we have nearly gotten through all of 2025. We are nearly to New Year's. We get a little reprieve here over Thanksgiving. We get to take a second, breathe, take some days to the family, but then it's right back to it in December. You see, we've got the December 2nd event at Chicagoland Speedway for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. Follow them up a week later with Pocono, but in between, we've got that race at Southern National for this Impel Motorsports National Tour, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Cole Cabry can come back with, specifically, because, we talked about it earlier, Zach. Obviously, it's too early to say if you'll be there for that event, but we saw it earlier with the points. Cole missing tonight. He's going to take a hit. I'm excited to see how he can fire back with all of the shop and Cottle Chassis and try to get that win and fire back in Alex's direction.
Well, now the pressure's back on him. Like you said, Andrew, with McCollum popping off the win here, you mentioned it during the middle of the race. He does have some drop race, or he did have that drop race to give, and the drop race would go to tonight. So I think he's still going to get some points out of it, but not as many, obviously, as McCollum. So now the ball's back in his court, and the pressure's all on him. So, like you said, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly he can bounce back from it and start reapplying the pressure back to Alex.
That's a preview of what's upcoming here. Zach, I think this is one of your first, if not your first experience with the Sim Auto Racing Association. Thoughts after 250 here at Five Flags?
Well, 250 laps, green to checkered. I like you had mentioned, it's insanely impressive to go 250 laps with 1 caution, maybe even 2, with how close these guys are in talent level, all stacked on top of each other with these cars right on top of each other. It's impressive in that regard, but to go flag to flag, 250 laps with everything that we saw, with how close everybody was, the door banging, the bumping, the slides, the saves, and still come out the other side without a caution. It's just so impressive just to see out of these guys. So color me impressed, because that was a fantastic watch. There was no shortage of action anywhere. All 250 laps had something to talk about. Just incredible driving by every single one of these guys.
A big thank you, as always, to Cody Williams Design, Crow Sim Shots, Impel Motorsports, Nautical Marine, Only Short Tracks, Privateer Race Products, RJW21 Management, SARA Templates, SimRapMarket.com, this week's presenting partner, and they have stepped up in a big way. A big thank you to Cameron, Colby, and everybody over there at SimRapMarket.com. It's not said enough that these partners matter so much to these series and make these series possible. So Cameron, if you're watching, if you're listening, thank you for your support this week. This has been a big week of racing for the Sim Auto Racing Association. A big shout out as well to the association, Thronberg Construction, Trackside Threads, and Velocity Motorsports. Also want to give a nod as well to our partners, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. We'll get on out of here and let you all get back to your festivities. Thanksgiving next week, just a week, less than a week away now, I'd say. Waking up, turkey is going in the oven, and getting ready to feast and give thanks to all that matters in our lives. Of course, if you're outside of the United States, there are some of you. If you're Canadian, you already had Thanksgiving, I believe. But just spend some time with family these next couple of weeks as we get closer and closer and into this holiday season. Zach, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you on these broadcasts. Until next time, everybody, we will see you in December 2nd, Chicagoland Speedway for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. Until then, have a great night.